My trade in SUI is up over 350% just in the last 5 weeks. Now, SUI is not up 350%, but my trade is. So if you're interested in SUI and you want to see what I'm doing, when I'm getting in, when I'm cashing out, you want to pay attention to this video and stay until the end. So let's get into it. All right, so here's the chart on SUI. This is the moving indicator that I actually use, multiple different indicators actually. And we use momentum in our favor. Now, I'm not always going to catch the absolute top and I'm not always going to catch the absolute bottom, but the two time frames that I'm using are the 1 day and then also the 3 day to trade SUI. I'm not doing the 1 week because this is just too long of a time frame. And, you know, by the time, in my opinion, that things start to break down on the 1 day or on the 3 day, you've gotten a lot of meat off of that avocado. All right. So let's take a look at like where we're at now and how I would be getting into SUI. Now I got in, you know, like really right around here, and, have done really, really well since then. But if you take a look, actually, let's take a look at my average entry. So my average entry was about 191. I did get into SUI earlier than that, but that's my average entry. Okay, so I did get in a little bit later, but let's take a look here where we're at 191. All right, so how much has SUI gone up since then? Well, SUI's gone up only 82%, and I'm up 350%. So how is that so? How did I, you know, more than triple the gain on here? Okay, well, I'm going to show you all here in a little bit, but a lot of it has to do with my timing of my entries, because what happens is SUI starts to really, really heat up and people will get in like, you know, right around here when it's just topping out. This is when people start FOMOing in. And then the market drops and they're disheartened because, you know, now they're in drawdown. And, you know, let's take a look at what like that drawdown looks like here from here to here. That's a 28% drawdown. And if you're using the amount of leverage that I'm using, you would have gotten liquidated a long time ago if you would have gotten in like this and out. So what did I do? First of all, I started off with less leverage. Okay. So I started off with about 3 times leverage, and I made sure that I was like right at this critical moment in the entry. If I'm getting in, the higher I'm getting in, okay, like fresh, not like ongoing, but fresh, the less leverage I'm going to use. So maybe I'll use like 1.5 leverage or 2 leverage at the most where we're at right now. And let's say, for instance, I got like $10,000 for SUI that I want to put in as a whole. Well, maybe what I would do is, especially since it's deviated from this momentum indicator right here, I would come in maybe with like $2,500. All right, scale in really, really conservatively, or even $1,250. And I would probably see if I could catch any more dumps here. And so I would not be going like red line, using leverage, getting crazy on this, because this is how you can get really wrecked and you can lose a lot of money. Again, let's take a look at right here. All right, let's take a look at if we get in here and it just goes down to this line. If you were to use 5 times leverage, if it goes down to this line, you would get liquidated. That means all of your initial investment would go bye-bye. Now, could it do the opposite and go sky high? Yeah, of course, but that's gambling. That's not managing risk. Okay, so if I'm liking SUI now and I'm just like, okay, I want to get into this, I'm going super conservative. I'm going to go in with like 1,250 or 2,500 max, and I would go in with very little leverage, very, very little leverage. Okay, and then what I would do if I wanted to like increase my leverage to like reduce my risk in terms of my own capital, I would wait for it to go up. Okay, and then maybe if I got a dip here or even here and I was still in profit, then I would add additional leverage and I would take a look at like where my liquidation is. Okay, and I'll show you where you would find that liquidation right here. This is gains. I'm going to talk a little bit more about gains here in a bit, but you can see my SUI trade. In order for me to get liquidated, SUI would have to come all the way back down to $1.63. So that's probably not going to happen. But in the meantime, I've added more leverage. So I started off with like 2x leverage, and now I'm sitting in double the amount of leverage. And I'll show you why I personally have added more leverage. Okay, let's get into why I'm actually using gains, okay? And this is such a big deal, guys and gals, because if you're trading, you know, and I'm not saying that any of these centralized exchanges are going to rug pull, or, you know, that they're bad exchanges, that they're not liquid, that they're doing the same things as these old exchanges did. But I just don't like the counterparty risk that centralized exchanges use, okay? Or that I'm exposed to, really. And you can see here, you know, this is an article of, you know, FTX collapsing. And I remember I was around and I didn't have any money in FTX. I had all of my money on chain. Now, back when FTX collapsed, there was no leverage trading on the blockchain going on, or very little. It was like super duper duper nascent. And this leverage trading is a pretty recent thing. I mean, you're talking about a year to a year and a couple of months that you've been able to leverage trade on the blockchain, okay? But I always want to have my crypto in my custody, all right? And the reason is, again, I don't want to have to deal with, you know, being an FTX creditor or a Celsius creditor or something along those lines, where they can be doing something totally behind the scenes that I'm not aware of. And then I end up, you know, stuck losing money or waiting for my cash value over many, many years. I learned this very early on in my crypto investing career. And this is why I use G-Trade. And there is a link down below for G-Trade if you guys are interested in getting into a decentralized leveraging exchange. And I'm also going to leave a link right above here. It's going to pop up here, which is part 1 of how to leverage trade. So there's a 4-part series, okay? And it's really, I broke it down real simple. It's free. It's just on my YouTube, all right? You can go to part 1, and then you can go to part 2, part 3, part 4. But this is something that you want to make sure you understand before you get into this, okay? And it's something that I teach in my course. But again, I give it away for free here on YouTube because I do want people to make as much money as possible. And then we'll get into like even the more advanced stuff if you come to me. But this is the place that I do my decentralized leverage trading. And the reason is, you know, they have access to so many crypto pairs, probably more than any other decentralized exchange, leveraged exchange out there. But they also have access to Forex and commodities. And I'm actually working on some different algos that I'm going to be able to set up and have them running in the background. And I really don't have to do anything using leverage on the blockchain to do like Euro USD trades or gold USD trades, etc. So this is why I use G-Trade. They are an excellent company. They are like on it, and there is nowhere that you're actually getting the amount of pairs, the selection that they have, as well as, check this out, when you're a larger investor, they have 0 slippage on BTC and ETH. So you get the crispest, cleanest price. So anyways, head over. I've got the link down below. It's the first link here in my description. Head over there. Check it out. Use my link and watch my videos if you haven't leveraged trade. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun and you can make a lot of money. Now, let's take a look at this. These are my 2 open trades that I have going on right now. Now, when you are using this amount of leverage, your trades are going to fluctuate. So you can, in my thumbnail, you see that it was 18,000. It's sunk down like 500. It was actually almost 19,000 just a few minutes ago. So because I'm using leverage, my price action, or my profit action, I should say, or loss action is much more volatile. Okay, much more volatile. Now, the other crypto that I'm in, and we're almost at 2 weeks here that since I've been in this trade, is FXS. And I just added more leverage to this just the other day, but I'm up 93% in just a couple of weeks. All right. Despite the fact that FXS is maybe up like 30-40%, I'm at like double that. All right. How did I start with FXS though? Did I start with 6x leverage? No way. Okay. I started off with 3x leverage. And then as it started to climb and then retrace, I actually added more leverage. And the other day, I saw that FXS was getting stronger against SUI. So what I did using my momentum indicator, what I did was I took a little bit from SUI, and because I'm at a nice profit level here, and I put it into FXS because FXS is down the line way more. I think it's like 330 in terms of market cap versus SUI being like in the top 25 right now. So it's got like less to go up, but I still think we have a lot to go up here on SUI, and I'm going to show you all what that looks like here in a few seconds. So FXS, again, the reason I took from SUI and put it into FXS is because I believe that it's going to keep going up, and it's got a lot of really good things. In fact, I have a video right here that you're going to want to watch in regards to FXS that I just did last week, and I think you might get excited about it. So anyways, let's focus on SUI here. What do I think the price target of SUI is? What's in the realm of possibility? Well, there's another little tool here called marketcapof.com. And this is where you can take a look and see, hey, if I have, SUI and it climbs to the price of BNB, what could I expect in terms of profit? If you come over here back to gains and you take a look at how much SUI I have, so this is like the amount of SUI that I'm using with the amount of leverage that I've got 11,260 SUI. So I plug this in, and let's say that SUI goes to Binance's all-time high, all right, which would be $654. Well, if I have 11,260 SUI, that would give me an 11x on this amount, so the total leverage trade that I've got. And guess how much my SUI investment is worth? Well, it's worth a $5,000 investment would turn into $435,000, all right? And this is, guys, gals, if you don't think that this is doable, let's just take a look at some of these other cryptos. Let's take a look at let's take a look at BNB. So my entry last bull market, I got into BNB right around January. And you can see here, I got in, and I wasn't using this indicator back then, but I got in, I'm not even kidding you. I got in like right about January 1st or so, maybe a few days actually into January. So it was about right here. I remember it was like 30 some dollars. Okay. And then what ended up happening was BNB blasted out from here. Okay. Now I ended up taking profit all along the way, but you can see here, this is just a 16x right here alone from BNB. Now, if you would have been in at $8, at $7, I did have some BNB in at like around $7 actually, and then I think I bought a little more at 18. But let's just say the big stack that I bought was around that 38, and I was yield farming it as well, so I was making some extra money. Now, if I would have leverage traded, okay, the effect can be the same as doing liquidity pools, okay? The effect can be the same as liquidity pools because, I was making like an additional 300 or 400% per year by yield farming and jumping from farm to farm, but that really isn't a valid strategy, especially with impermanent loss anymore. So using this indicator, you could, okay, technically speaking, get up to these levels of gains very, very quickly. And you can take a look here. Once it started sinking, it was from January to May. So 4 months, all right, 5 months that you were just making ridiculous amounts of money. And remember, there are some retracements. This is why we use the indicator. There are retracements to hold us in there to make that nice amount of money. But the reason I'm showing you this chart is because SUI, in my opinion, could be the contender to move up the ranks to become the next BNB. Now, will BNB go higher from here? Probably, especially when alt season really kicks into high gear. But I want to be in something that's a little bit less down the chart here so that we can get the most amount of gains. And SUI seems to be kind of like that Solana mover this time around, or that BNB type of mover in the last market that I think is going to absolutely crush this market. So I am anticipating around an 11x. Okay. And once that starts to hit, I'll probably take some profit off of this, maybe 100,000, 200,000, who knows? All right. But once it hits to this around this 11x, I'm going to really start to take some nice profit here. Again, guys and gals, head over to that link down below in regards to gains.finance. I want you to be in the most successful decentralized futures exchange where you can use leverage to crush it. And if you like videos like this, smash that subscribe button, smash that notification button, because we're putting up to 2 videos out per day for you to give you the best alpha on crypto YouTube. So we want you to be first with this information. I'll see you on the next video, guys and gals. Thanks for staying till the end. Cheers.